Hi, my name is Ed Tindal, and I'm a native of Apex, and I attended Apex High School from 1960 to 1964, graduated in 1964. I played football, basketball, baseball, and track, and our biggest rival, of course, was Cary High School. I coached at Apex Middle School before I came to Apex High School in 1993 as athletic director, and I was athletic director at Apex High School from 1993 to 2006 when I retired from teaching and coaching.
So tell me what the Cary-Apex rivalry means to somebody who is from here, from Apex.
Well, it was definitely a big deal. It was always the big game of the year. We weren't really successful against Cary much in athletics when I was in high school. And when I became athletic director, one of my major goals was to get Apex High School's athletic program on the same level that Cary's was, and to give us an opportunity to not only beat Cary, but have an opportunity to win state championships. And so I worked hard to build up the booster club and to hire a great coaching staff here at the high school and take advantage of the tight-knit community that Apex was and still is, and the pride that we had in this school. And we got back up to the level thanks to such great coaches as Roy Cooper in track, and Bob Wolf in football, David Neal in basketball, and Mike Gleason in baseball. The whole coaching staff had that one goal, but the game that we really got up for every year was always Cary. So, and it meant a lot when I was growing up. It meant a lot to the whole community. When we played Cary, the town of Apex used to close, and everybody would go to the athletic event when we were playing Cary. It was just a huge rivalry for us.
The two towns have a lot of similarities, like back in history, you know, to small towns, suburbs of Raleigh, railroad stations in each town. But there were also differences, like Cary kind of grew faster than Apex did. Talk about what some of the similarities were back in the day and that transition period as both towns were growing, but one, faster than the other.
Right. Both towns when I was growing up were, as you said, little tobacco towns. There were a lot of tobacco farms in this area, a lot of open land. And Cary being closer to Raleigh, I think when IBM moved down here in the mid to late 60s, a lot of IBM employees moved into the Cary area because housing was less expensive than it was in Raleigh. And they were close enough to the Research Triangle they could reach the new IBM offices out there in the Research Triangle. Some moved to Apex, but not as many. And both schools began to grow, but Cary did grow faster. In the 60s, Cary was larger. And when I played in high school, Apex was actually a 1A size school, but we were playing in one of the biggest 2A conferences, which included Cary. And so that hurt our growth a little bit athletically. But the two towns grew, like you said, Cary grew much faster than Apex. And still today, with over 80,000 people in the town of Apex, we're still smaller than Cary, but it's growing very rapidly.
Did you think you ever see Apex as big as it is? Did you think you'd ever see Apex as big as it is?
No, when I was in high school, there were 1,200 people in the city limits of Apex. Now there's over 80,000. My wife and I, we're both natives of Apex, and we have welcomed the growth. I've always said that the one thing that you're guaranteed in this life is change. And there's been a lot of changes in Apex. When we grew up, there weren't a lot of street lights, and there weren't a lot of paved streets at Apex, and just one small 1A school where you went all 12 years. And then Apex Consolidated was one small 1A size school too in Apex, because we were segregated when I grew up in Apex.
When you were playing, and you said that Cary was just a better athletic program when you were in high school, was that frustrating? And like, how much did you look back at that when you took over here as AD?
That was very frustrating to me. They had more players, and being a larger school, I think they had more students to select their teams from. So that was frustrating. And I guess I just sort of stuffed that in my back pocket and in the back of my mind. And when I became athletic director, I just wanted to build a special program here, taking advantage of the town's commitment to the school. And there's only one Apex High School, even though this year there'll be 4 Apex High Schools, but only one Apex High School, which is this one. And the school I went to, of course, was where the middle school is now. And you went all, like I said, all 12 grades there. But yeah, I was determined to build a winning program, and I think this entire community was determined to see this school grow and athletically, and be able to compete not only with Cary but with anybody in the state. And so we started winning state championships in other sports. It's very, very difficult to win a football state championship. So that's one thing we didn't do when I was athletic director, but we did start winning and have a winning program, and we were able to compete with anybody.
Was that his fault? What was the first state championship? Do you remember?
I remember we had a swimming state championship when I came out here, and I think it was soccer.
What was that like that when Apex won its first state title?
To me, it was just great, and I think to this town it was great. But we've won track and field championships, basketball, baseball, soccer, boys and girls, and lacrosse. When we started that sport, right away we became a force to be reckoned with at the state level. And we've won multiple lacrosse championships. Basketball, volleyball, yeah. We've won state championships in that. So we won a lot of them.
When you think back to Apex and Cary, the rivalry, are there certain moments that stick out to you?
There's one in my own personal life. We were playing Cary at Apex, and we were behind. We had won 5 straight games. We lost the first 2 that season by 1 point each, and then we won, I think, 5 straight games, and Cary came in leading the league, and we were behind them, and their quarterback dropped back to pass, and I went and hit him from the blind side and knocked the ball out of his hand, and it bounded toward our goal line, and thought flashed through my mind, this is my opportunity to score. Being a defensive and offensive lineman, you didn't get many of those opportunities. And I grabbed the ball and dropped it and kicked it on toward our goal, and went and it bounced again, and I couldn't get my hands on it. And I noticed all these white uniforms catching up to me, so I finally fell on it. But wasn't able to score. That was a big moment for me personally. And I'm afraid I botched it. But the times we beat Cary in any sport, but especially in football, when Coach Wolf was here, winning his first game, and then beating Cary, first time his team beat Cary when I was athletic director here, that was huge to me. I remember going down on the field and hugging Coach Wolf for that one. I was so glad to see that finally. And then down at Sanford, when his football team won the conference championship by coming back and beating Lee County High School down there at their place. And being in the state playoffs all those years that he got us in the state playoffs, those were huge to me. State championships in soccer and volleyball, and they won basketball right after I retired. But winning the baseball, I think in the year 2000, winning the state championship in baseball was very special to me. I enjoyed every game of that. We had a very special team that year, and it was just a joy to see them play all the way through. So that's some of the big moments, but some of the other special things were improving the facilities, like putting in soccer practice fields, putting a really good football practice field down in the lower field outside the stadium, improving the stadium, putting the extra seats in the stadium so that we could host state playoff games, replacing the seats in the gym, just improving the facilities as we went and making sure every coach had everything they needed and wanted so they felt like they could win state championships. If the players came through, we wanted to have that opportunity. And seeing this, a thing that people never see that I took great pride in and really enjoyed was improving the size of the Booster Club. When I retired, there were over 3,000 members in the Booster Club. So the community really got involved and supported the school athletic program.
The rivalries have really changed in this part of the county with all the growth and the new schools.
Yeah.
But the Cary Apex rivalry, it wasn't just, it wasn't like, oh, we know those people, we want to beat them. It was like a heated, you did not like each other rivalry, right?
Exactly.
Tell me what that feeling was like between the two communities.
You could be sure when you played Cary, and I felt like Cary felt the same way about us. You were going to get the other side's best effort. And there was going to be a lot of energy and a lot of excitement. And the players were going to play lights out. They were going to do anything it took to win those ball games. And looking back on it now, that was so much fun. The whole world stopped for those ball games. I don't care if it was marbles. Anything you played against Cary and anything Cary played against us, they knew that was going to be special. That was going to be a big game. That was going to be a sellout crowd there.